why were you taught lots of French in school? Why was I taught lots of French in school? I kept wondering about this, and finally I found out the reason. And the reason is this. In 1996, the then leader of Nigeria, in the person of General Sani Abacha, made a policy declaration that the French language is going to be a second official language alongside English. This policy declaration wasn't made entirely out of good faith. Now, here is exactly what happened. General Sani Abacha made this policy in 1996, but in 1995, remember the Ogoni 9 that involved Ken Saro-Wiwa. Now, Ken Saro-Wiwa was an environmental activist. In a separate video, we will talk about Ken Saro-Wiwa. But now, let's focus on our story. Now, in 1995, the Ogoni 9 were all executed, including Ken Saro-Wiwa. And by the virtue of this action by the then government of the Federation at the time, the Commonwealth of Nations suspended Nigeria's membership at that time. Even the Western powers like the UK and the US, they imposed sanctions on Nigeria at that time because of that very incident involving the Ogoni 9 in 1995. In response to this, the then leader of Nigeria at the time, in the person of General Sani Abacha, he made a turn and he elevated the French language status to make it a second official language alongside the English language at the time. And he mandated all institutions in Nigeria, both primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, to teach French in all the institutions. Now, some people will argue that this move is very good because it helped Nigeria as an English-speaking country to focus on their neighbors and to form stronger ties with their neighbors by learning French and by speaking more French to be able to do business and to communicate better with Nigeria's neighbors like Cameroon, Benin, Chad, and the rest of them, because all those countries surrounding Nigeria were French-speaking countries. And then one may argue that this move is very good because it helps Nigeria to better communicate with its neighbors in all ramifications. Although the full potential of this policy was never fully implemented, because as an English-speaking country, Nigeria lacked the infrastructures and even the teachers that are very qualified to teach the French language at all levels in school. Nigeria lacked it at the time, but that doesn't mean that the policy was not implemented. It was implemented, but it never fully got to reach its full potential. Now, knowing about this story, it got me thinking that some 27 years ago, prior to 1996, the French were considered the enemy of Nigeria. But fast forward to 28 years later, the French became the French language and the French people were embraced as best friends of Nigeria in 1996. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comment section. I will see you in my next video. Know your history.